Hi everybody, this is Tafi bringing you chapter 7 of my 4 Kings 100% growth LTC. This is the only route map in all of 4 Kings, and the basic clear is pretty similar to the old run, though there is better long-term optimization. The map is pretty large, so we deploy our entire mounted squad and Dorian, with Shelby getting the one slot left over because of his 1 to 2 range, relative reliability at the job he needs to do, and his need to promote for chapter 10. The next chapter after this will force deploy our entire army and not give us a preparation screen, so we need to prepare the inventories of even our benched units. Right at the start, we get a new unit, Cielo the Nomad. His PRF is the Sky Shot, a 4-range locked bow with shaky accuracy. This is useful for picking off some annoying enemies throughout his time being deployed. Cielo comes at level 7 and he is an immediate EXP target. We wanted to promote during chapter 9 to help with that clear by leveraging his improved terrain properties. He's a Walter route unit and will generally help out as a mounted unit. Chase, Sean, Shelby, and Marcy all need to do lots of combat by themselves here. Marcy takes some secret books to help her crit a couple of enemies, and because we want her to cap her skill unpromoted for a boss kill in chapter 10. All of her power leveling was done to let her handle the southern area of this map past the cliff as our sole flyer. Shelby will handle the enemies across the left cliff near the starting area since they all have 2 range. Chase and Sean will handle the enemies near the villages, and they get boosted forward on turn 1 by Dorian. Dorian's other actions will be devoted to Zoe to kill several birds with 1 stone. This massively helps with Zoe's self-improvement, and all of her staff uses are on staves we want to grind down for later anyway, so it ties into our long-term goals. She uses Hermann 3 times on this map, and the first use is on our light brand. The light brand is pretty low on uses, but we need to get more mileage out of it for the optimal clear of this map. Shelby uses Nosferatu on the first turn because the Pricken hits like a truck. Most of the enemies on this map charge at the player. The 2 green units, Ron and Victor, are recruitables. Ron is a Ramhack soldier, but we do want him to get at least 1 level so we can promote for chapter 19. His PRF Justice Pike is a 10 might lance with shaky hit, some crit, and a Luna effect. He's a Walter route unit, and as you might guess, he can't keep up with the mounts, which is the reason why he's most relevant to one particular map. Victor, on the other hand, is a fighter who goes to Lionel route. His PRF is the Vooge, a high crit 1 to 2 range axe. He's pretty frail, and despite being a Hero Crest user, is an EXP target. We want him to promote by chapter 13, so we will throw some kills his way. Interestingly, Victor normally has a 100% HP growth, and is the only unit in this whole hack to have a 100% growth in anything. In this run, I actually set his HP growths to 195% and all of his other growths to 95%. If you watch my Emblem LTC, you should be able to guess why that is. Shelby switches to Munio for the rest of the map to invalidate the other enemies he fights as threats. Victor needed to get hit on turn 1 so as to let Zoe heal him when she goes to fill up his inventory. Speaking of Zoe, the second use of Hermann is on Spark. Chase has been going ham with it quite a lot, and he's going to continue doing that in the future, so it's a pretty sensible choice for our second Hermann use. The old run had some pretty poor use of Dorian, ostensibly to optimize Cielo's EXP, but this run does a much better job of tightening the screws on that front. Bradley doesn't do any combat on this map. His primary raison d'etre here is to visit the armory. Both the armory and the vendor on this map are important side objectives. Zoe will be visiting the vendor. Sean's survival on this map is actually 100% guaranteed thanks to his pure water boost and a vulnerability he's gonna chuck later. His real problem is actually landing hits with the light brand on mages with weapon triangle disadvantage. The lack of the Angelic Robe and Draco Shield on Marcy is really visible on this map. She can just about take one hit, compared to the old run where she could generally take 2 hits. I will say, one annoying thing about this map being so large is that the enemy faces take a really long time just because of the camera having to pan around. Anyway, though uses the final use of Hermann that we're gonna burn on this map on the Mystic Bow. This isn't really for any strategic reason. We did not come anywhere close to running out the uses on this thing. It's just that we're still in a very early part of the game, all things considered, and we just do not have any other items that are valuable enough to consider them prime candidates for the Hermann. Zoe does hit C staves, which is nice. We could maybe have had her start working on the barrier staff, but we do need to prepare 3 one-use men staves for this run, and most units really don't want to be using mend outside of arena chapters if they can help it. So it's alright to have her spend her actions on it. It wouldn't affect the level that she gets to before she promotes anyway. I actually deliberately keep Ava out of Walter's support range so that he can get chippy XP off the Brigand without killing him. Cielo's position lets him enemy phase the Shaman near the armory. And Shan's position there lets him bait over the Nomad to do some chip damage. We actually want to anti-rig the crit on the Nomad with Shan, because that kill needs to go to Cielo. On a past attempt at this chapter, I did have to burn some RNs to make that happen, while also landing all of my attacks with my other units. Shelby can afford to miss the Nomad once or twice, though we prefer that he lands all of his attacks just so that he can burn RNs on turn 4 if we really need it. Thanks to the Pure Water boost, Chase has exactly 0 issues surviving all the combat that he faces on this map. And he doesn't even need any crits either. He's only using Spark instead of, say, a Fire Tome for the power. The reason we filled up Victor's inventory is so that he can convoy warp the blue gem as soon as he visits the village, so we can have Lionel trade it to Bradley and sell it immediately. This armory, as I think I mentioned earlier, sells light brands and is the first opportunity we have to get more of them. We also will not get another opportunity to buy them until chapter 13, so it's a very important one to visit. The vendor lets us buy an unlocked staff, which we want to do with Zoe because she needs to actually use it on the next map. And we also want to buy a Shine Tome so that Yufin can use that. This is both helpful in that Yufin no longer has to be suicidal to actually gain EXP. while gaining the boosted weapon EXP, because Shine does give boosted weapon EXP just like vanilla. But we also specifically need a 2-use Shine Tome for Chapter 17, and Yufin is pretty much our best unit at working on grinding that down as an unpromoted combat light magic user. Lucy needs to crit the Brigand who goes for her on turn 4 enemy phase with the Javelin, and this was the enemy that required her to hit such a high stat benchmark so quickly. She also needed a crit to kill the Mercenary. This physics staff will prove to be useful for our healer's EXP, and we also want to grind it down to 1 use eventually for an EXP optimization down the line. And we convoy warp the Nightcrest here so that we can more easily trade it to Shan for the next chapter, which is when he needs to promote. I don't really have anything else to add. The reward for saving all the villages is a body ring, and we need at least one of those for a future clear. I'll see you guys next time.